this? Who else has a husband that puts these ridiculous things up in the doorway? It looks so ugly. It's winter break. I have a lot to do before we head up for our family vacation to Tahoe. And one of those things is a really cool project. It's 10:30
p.m.
Which I'm honestly not surprised because it's me. But the whole day passed and I didn't do a single thing for my plants. So I'll explain what I'm doing while I eat this cupcake. A funny story about this cupcake.
So when I was pregnant with my daughter, we used to live walking distance to Springles, and I had one of these every single day. And I'm not even exaggerating. Anyway, my third trimester, I was super pregnant, and I asked my husband to get me one, and he was like, no, I'm not gonna get you any more cupcakes. And I was like, please get me some cupcakes. So he finally agreed to it. They used to have secret keywords, where if you say that keyword in person, they'll give you a free cupcake. And the keyword that day was Funshine. So I told my husband, I was like, okay, so get me a red velvet cupcake and tell the cashier Funshine. He's like, what? I said, you have to say Funshine. He's like, I'm not gonna do that. I was like, please, it's a free cupcake. Just say the word Funshine. Finally agreed. And he goes up to the cash register and then he goes, Funshine. And the cash register person was like, what? And he goes, Funshine. And the girl goes, what's that? And then another girl working off the side goes, oh, that was yesterday's password. He's so annoyed at this point. It's the least you could do when your wife is like 8 months pregnant.
Okay, so back to the project. This is my baguette. It's actually only $40 now. It's so cheap. And it actually almost makes you want to buy a few more.
I won't.
But I need to repot all the corms. They're not even corms anymore, they're actual plants. I need to repot all of the alocasias on that bottom shelf into their permanent substrate because they have been living in stratum for over a year now. Let me finish my cupcake and I'll get to it.
Nom 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 nom.
Let me explain what a corm is. Alocasias like these, they can be propagated by growing something called a corm, which you can think of it as like a seed. It's not really a seed though. There's actually a corm in here, so I'm gonna pick this off. But this is a corm. It's crazy how this thing can grow into a whole new plant. It's actually more. Should I plant more or let it grow more? Oh, it fell off. Here's another one. So I have 3 variegated pink dragon corms. That's so exciting. Okay, so all of my corms I've grown in this black stuff called solemn substrate. It's an aquarium substrate, so people use this in fish tanks, but I've had 100% success rate growing all my corms in this stuff. And this is one that I've been growing. It's unlabeled, so I don't know what it is. I think it might be a variegated poly that my friend Jen sent me. It's so cute. Look how gross this water is. It's like, oh my gosh, it's so gross. I have this double cup set up so it can be self-watering. So 1 cup as the reservoir cup. That's not a wick, that's a root. And then this cup sitting over it and it'll just self-water it. Oh my God. Look what time it is. Woe is me. Look at that little baby corm that's growing.
Okay, some of these roots were rotted. This was in stratum for way too long, but most of the roots are fine. Now I'm just repotting this into a chunky soil mix, adding in the root crack for successful transplanting. Clear pots for the win, you can see the moisture through them. and then adding in my favorite fertilizer that contains billions of bacteria and fungi.
So I've never reused stratum before. I'm going to peel these corms and I'm just gonna plant them all together and reuse this cup. And look how cute this turned out.
This is why I can never get a manicure, because I need to peel corms for a living. And here's that double cup setup I was telling you about earlier. That bottom cup is going to be the reservoir that feeds that stratum. I made holes in this lid to act as a humidity dome. And obviously, I need a label maker that looks like a typewriter.
Okay, so this is a variegated Bambino. There's new growth coming in. Normally, my rule of thumb is to let the birthing mother finish giving birth to her child before moving her. But it's so late, I just kind of want to do it. I'm gonna do it. The variegation is so pretty on this. Look at all the pink. I actually got this Bambino when I was traveling within my own state from someone off of Facebook. And when I mentioned that I bought this corn while traveling, people went crazy.
That is illegal smuggling. This is such irresponsible sourcing of plants.
I never said I got this internationally. Oh, look at corn. Look at the roots. Maybe I should actually do a bigger pot for this one. Yeah, maybe I'll do one of the top pots. Ow! Luckily, I have a supply cabinet of just clear pots. Where's my root crack? I'm gonna sprinkle a lot of crack on this one because I want that baby leaf to make it. Funny story about the soil. Someone DM'd me a couple months ago and she said,
Why you tell me the soil rots your plants and you were dishonest about it?
I can't control your growing environment. I've always said everyone's environment is completely unique. Do what works for you. How quickly your soil dries out is going to be different from how quickly my soil dries out. Depends on your humidity, how much light you're giving your plants. So to blame someone for the way that they treated their own plants is pretty wild to me. Just another day in my DMs. I'm going to add in fertilizer. All right. Perfect example of variegation not being guaranteed. This is a corm of a variegated or from a variegated dragon scale. And this leaf is variegated. This is light burn, but the other leaves are not. Oh my God, this already has roots.
You.
So I took off a corm that already had roots. I'm just gonna plant it back in this soil. Put some of this back. The trick with this is you wanna keep the substrate really moist because if stratum is not moist, it's gonna start sucking moisture from the corm itself and then dry it out. 1:20 a.m. Here's another troll comment.
Go get a new hobby. Corona's over. Try traveling and meet new friends. No one is into plants anymore.
Specific reel that this person was commenting on was about me preparing my plants for traveling. People are so crazy. Oh, there is a corm. It's really tiny. I'm gonna leave it, but I kind of want another. I don't need to plant any more corm. It's a good size. No, I'm gonna leave it. I'm gonna leave it. This one, also in the middle of giving birth. Still gonna do it. The next troll comment I've gotten, which was,
You should be banned from touching plants. Feel so sorry for your plants. I've never seen more stupid and toxic TikTok.
Jeez Louise. Look at that mama corm. She was huge. This might be variegated. So YouTube is, or long form YouTube is new for me because I've been doing shorts for so long, and the number one criticism I probably get on my shorts is how fast I talk. People think my voice is sped up, but it's not. That's just my voice. But When it comes to short form content, like you only have 60 seconds to get your point across. Normally I just ignore those comments, but I don't know, I was feeling feisty that day. So all I said was, scroll along, you don't need to watch. And then his response was,
I should have guessed that with such a first name, you'd be disagreeable, like my ex-wife.
shocker that that guy is no longer married. So let me know if you prefer these long form videos where you can hear my voice
At normal speed,
I can't explain how good it feels to finally get this done. All of these plants were really used to having consistent moisture in a self-watering cup. So I am going to keep this very well watered for the next few weeks until these roots acclimate to soil. Oh, I need to stop doing that. Woe is me.
And I freaking found 2 plants that were still in stratum that I totally forgot about that are up here that also need to be repotted.
I feel like death, but I'm very curious how my plants did in the NICU overnight. I got this powder because it's all the rage with kids these days on TikTok. I don't mind it. Let's see how the plants did. Turned the grow lights off in this cabinet because the exposure was just too crazy, but they seem to have done okay overnight. Ooh, it is tropical in here. I can already feel the humidity. Looking good. Although I wouldn't expect any transplant shock to happen overnight, honestly. But I am very happy with how these came out. I'm still so annoyed about this one. I totally forgot about it because it's just sitting up here in this cabinet and not downstairs with the rest. I'm gonna need to repot it. Even after all that cleaning last night, immediately back to being a mess. Life with 2 young kids. Fertilizer, barium substrate encasers, corms, root crab, oil, watering can. I have pots in multiple sizes and potting mats in multiple sizes. My kids are at the park right now. Hopefully I can get this done before they come running in. All right.
Found some rot. And a corm. And a plantlet. And another plantlet.
I was afraid this was gonna happen. This is turning into more work than I anticipated. So there are 3 plants in here. This one is a baby, very pretty. This is the OG mama plant. And then this is another corm, but it's throwing out fully white leaves. There's no chlorophyll in here, so these leaves are not going to last. I'll stick this back in here, and then I'm gonna plant these 2 separately. Oh, the corm! Where is it? It has 1 little root. I'm gonna do my double cup method, so little pudding cup with holes in a reservoir cup with a lid. Let's see how these look in a week. So we were actually gone 10 days, longer than I thought, and I'm so exhausted. Did like 5 loads of laundry since we got back. But I'm excited to see how the plants are doing. Moment of truth. They look pretty good. This pink dragon did not skip a beat in the transfer. She looks so good still. And remember the all white offshoot from my Gageana? This one melted off, but the rest are still alive somehow. Bambino looking good. This is damage from being too close to a grow light when new growth is coming in. New leaf!
And this variegated poly is still perfect. This was the other offshoot of the Gageana. This leaf is melting, but this one's okay. Here's the mother plant. A little bit yellowy. I definitely lost this leaf, but there's new growth coming in, so that's definitely a good sign still. P.S. I'm babysitting my friend's Friedeck. Look at this! It's so pretty. But while I was gone, it did dry out, so these 2 leaves are gonna be lost. Do you think she'll notice if I just... So after all that repotting, these were the only casualties. So not bad at all. This is definitely a success in terms of preventing transplant shock. So root crack for the win. 10 days gone, not bad. Maybe I can go on longer trips now that I know that my plants can handle it. Just kidding, look at this. What in the... This tree was perfectly fine 10 days ago before I left. What happened to you? Oh.